How did Brazil become a global offshore energy leader? Brazil's offshore installations form a central pillar of its energy sector, with production from the Santos and Campos Basins contributing a significant share of total output. By early 2025, the country operated 39 active offshore installations, reflecting steady expansion driven by major operators such as Petrobras, Brava Energia, Shell, and Equinor. This growth has been reinforced by a major turning point: the 2006 discovery of the pre-salt layer. Located around 180 kilometers offshore, these fields contain some of the world's largest untapped hydrocarbon resources and have reshaped Brazil's offshore strategy. Advanced offshore assets, including drillships and intervention vessels, now enable access to these deepwater reservoirs, strengthening the country's ability to scale production in complex environments. As a result, FPSO vessels have become essential to development. Projects such as FPSO Atlanta in the Santos Basin, which began production in December 2024, highlight the expanding role of offshore systems in unlocking these resources and sustaining output growth. Beyond production, offshore oil plays a crucial role in Brazil's broader economy. Brazilian crude is supplied to markets in Asia, Europe, and North America, strengthening foreign exchange reserves and supporting public investment in infrastructure, education, and healthcare. Offshore projects also require substantial capital investment, often in the billions, across construction, maintenance, and operations, driving economic activity well beyond the energy sector. The impact extends across the industrial base. Shipbuilding, engineering, and related services benefit from sustained demand, creating jobs and supporting long-term growth. In this way, offshore installations act as a catalyst for wider economic development, linking energy production with industrial expansion. Together, these factors reinforce Brazil's position in global energy markets. Continued investment in offshore installations reflects both technological capability and economic strength, underlining their role as a foundation of the country's energy sector. Offshore installations play a major role in job creation and income generation across Brazil's economy. Operating rigs, FPSOs, and support vessels requires a skilled workforce, including engineers, geologists, technicians, and maritime personnel. The sector employs tens of thousands directly and supports hundreds of thousands more through supply chains and related activities. As a result, employment demand is substantial. With 39 offshore rigs in operation, each requiring crews of 100 to 200 workers, the industry sustains thousands of high-paying jobs, particularly in coastal regions such as Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo. Local content commitments in major projects further reinforce this impact, creating additional employment and supporting regional economies. This leads directly to the need for workforce development. Offshore operations require specialized training, driving significant investment in technical education and skills programs. Operators continue to build local expertise to support increasingly complex offshore systems. Over time, this strengthens long-term capacity. Expanding domestic skills reduces reliance on foreign labor, while creating knowledge that can be applied across other sectors, including energy and manufacturing. In this way, offshore installations contribute not only to immediate employment, but also to sustained workforce development and broader economic resilience. The complexity of offshore installations in Brazil has driven significant technological innovation, particularly in ultra-deepwater environments exceeding 2,000 meters. Advanced solutions, such as subsea production systems, corrosion-resistant materials, and remotely operated vehicles have enabled efficient resource extraction under demanding conditions. As a result, these developments have strengthened Brazil's position in deepwater technology. Engineering expertise built through offshore projects not only improves operational performance, but also creates opportunities to export knowledge and solutions to global markets. This progress supports industrial growth. Offshore supply chains require a wide range of components, including pipelines, valves, and drilling equipment, much of which is increasingly produced locally. This reduces reliance on imports while strengthening domestic manufacturing capacity. In turn, broader economic benefits emerge. Localized production supports small and medium enterprises and reinforces industrial self-sufficiency, linking offshore energy development with long-term economic expansion. Brazil's domestic oil and gas production strengthens energy security by reducing exposure to global price shocks and supply disruptions. This level of self-sufficiency has proven critical during periods of international instability, ensuring a steady energy supply for industry, transport, and overall price stability. As a result, offshore production supports broader economic stability. Reliable energy availability underpins industrial activity and helps sustain consumer purchasing power. This also has a direct fiscal impact. Revenues from offshore operations, including royalties and taxes, generate substantial public income, supporting investment in infrastructure and essential services. Over the long term, this reinforces economic resilience. With billions in royalties already generated and further increases expected as production expands, offshore resources continue to strengthen Brazil's economic foundation. Offshore development in Brazil is increasingly shaped by environmental and regulatory pressures linked to the energy transition. While the economic benefits remain significant, risks such as oil spills pose serious threats to marine ecosystems and coastal economies, requiring stricter oversight. As a result, regulatory enforcement has intensified. In early 2025, tighter controls led to delays and halted drilling activity due to licensing and safety concerns, reflecting a stronger commitment to balancing production with environmental protection. This has a direct operational impact. Stricter regulations have slowed offshore development timelines for major operators, affecting exploration schedules and short-term production targets. Increased regulatory pressure is driving the adoption of safer and more sustainable technologies, aligning offshore operations with evolving environmental standards and strengthening compliance frameworks. In this way, environmental and regulatory constraints are not only limiting short-term activity, but also shaping a more resilient and sustainable offshore industry. Brazil's offshore sector is expanding beyond oil and gas into renewable energy, marking a clear shift toward diversification. The approval of the offshore wind bill in December 2024 has opened the path for developing the country's extensive offshore wind potential. As a result, a large pipeline of proposed projects, exceeding 230 gigawatts, is positioning Brazil as a major future player in offshore wind. This expansion is expected to create new economic opportunities across manufacturing, infrastructure, and related industries. This shift supports a more balanced energy system. Diversification into offshore wind reduces reliance on fossil fuels and helps mitigate exposure to oil price volatility, strengthening overall economic resilience. Offshore wind development can build on existing skills, infrastructure, and operational experience from oil and gas, improving efficiency and increasing investment appeal. In this way, offshore wind is becoming a key component of Brazil's energy strategy, supporting the transition toward a more diversified and resilient energy system. Offshore installations are strengthening Brazil's global competitiveness and reinforcing its position in the energy market. High-quality crude from offshore fields supports trade relationships with major economies, including China and the United States, expanding Brazil's influence within global supply chains. As a result, advances in deepwater technology and offshore wind development are enhancing Brazil's role in international energy discussions. These capabilities allow the country to shape policy debates and align with the broader interests of resource-rich economies. This creates a clear strategic advantage. Control over large energy resources increases bargaining power in both regional and global negotiations, strengthening Brazil's geopolitical position. Early investment in offshore wind, combined with existing infrastructure, provides a competitive edge. As neighboring countries begin to explore similar opportunities, Brazil's established capabilities position it as a leading and increasingly diversified energy player. Offshore installations are essential to Brazil's industry and economy, supporting energy production, employment, and technological advancement while sustaining its position in global markets. The 39 rigs and vessels reported in 2025 reflect a sector that generates billions in revenue and underpins widespread economic activity. As a result, these assets contribute not only to production output but also to broader economic stability and industrial development. Their influence extends across supply chains, reinforcing growth and innovation. This creates a balance between benefits and constraints. While environmental and regulatory pressures remain, the overall impact continues to be strongly positive, supporting long-term resilience. Looking ahead, diversification into offshore wind and continued optimization of oil and gas operations are shaping the next phase. Offshore installations remain central to Brazil's economic future, driving sustainable growth and strengthening its global influence.